Hey guys, here's my question for you. Do you track your material costs? Hey, this is Andrew Houston from Profit for Contractors for all electricians, plumbers, specialty trades out there, HVAC. Look, guys, you know, if we want to move our contracting business to the next level, we've got to do what I call is measure to multiply. Measure to multiply is all about tracking the right data that directly impacts your contracting business, that directly impacts whether or not you're quoting properly, whether or not you get the right crews that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, whether or not you're doing the right jobs out there, the right type of work, all those different things. And so when we're talking about measures and multiply today, I just want to talk very specifically about tracking your material. Now, I just got off a call with one of our great clients, and one of the things that he was struggling with was like, how the heck do I go about doing job costing? Where do I start? Well, one of the easiest places to start is tracking your material costs, okay? Now, when you look at a job, there's two core expenses. One's going to be material costs, the other one's going to be, hours. I'm going to be talking about how to track your hours later on this week in Tradie Tips in Your Truck. And so when we're looking at material, everything I cover off today will be able to leverage for tracking hours. But when we're looking at material costs, guys, I mean, how many times do our guys go out and they're just picking up material? It's not being assigned to the right jobs. We don't then know our expenses. We don't know, what's going on with some of our cash flow because we're like, where the hell's the money going? We end up with a shop filled with material. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? And it's like money just sitting there, right? Or money being wasted. So what do? Well, one of the very first things that you got to do is you need to establish the rules of the game. When we're looking at ordering material and buying material, we have to define who has the power to do that. If you got a right-hand person, if you got like an operations person, operations manager, managing those jobs, or a project manager, that's the ideal person to be doing it. Hey, Jonathan, nice man. We've got to make sure that we're managing the material, and that starts with allocating the roles and responsibilities for who actually manages it and who orders it. It might be the same person depending upon the size of contractor you are. It could be you as the business owner, but we got to make sure we establish the rules of the game for who has the rights to order it, who has the rights to get it, okay? And as far as the rules of the game, what are the limits? Like, where do you get informed at what point where it's like, wait a second, it needs somebody else's approval? So you want to set the boundaries. On the call that we had today, it was a $200 limit. So we set the game plan to make sure that, the PM is the person, overseeing these jobs. He's the person that actually is going to determine, and sort of sign off to go, yep, that needs to be ordered. And then we've got a runner. I call it a runner. It's a person that's like minimum wage person, and that's what they do. They go from supplier to supplier, picking up what they need. Ideally, we want to get our suppliers to deliver it, but we establish the rules of the game of who orders it, and then that in turn feeds who actually goes and picks it up. So that's sort of step number one: rules of the game. Okay, what's inbounds and what's out of bounds. Number two is tracking it. So when the guys go to order it, say in this PM's case, it's going to be different for some of you guys, depending upon the size that you are. But in this PM's case and the runner's case, they need to have clarity of which jobs it goes to. So it could be as simple as writing the jobs that you're doing, that your company's been awarded on, that you guys are working on. Put it up on a whiteboard. Take a picture of it. Send out the picture. Clearly write down what the names of the jobs are, and those names need to be allocated whenever that material is being ordered, okay? And that goes hand in hand with the rules, which is that if somebody goes to pick up material for two jobs and they're going to Lowe's or Home Depot or Rona or whatever, they've got to get two separate orders allocated to those two separate jobs, okay? Now, this is going to do wonders for you, whether you got an admin person or a bookkeeper, the person that does the accounting on your end. You want to make sure that they've been communicated that this is the new rules of the game, and here's how we're going to do things. So it's going to become very, very simple for that person, because guess what? When they see these receipts, it's going to be allocated to specific jobs, and now we're going to be able to look at job costing from a material perspective. We're going to be able to look at specific to quotes at this stage, which quotes were accurate, which ones were not, dependent upon what actually went on and what was quoted. Who's making how many trips to the different suppliers. So we're going to test that out for a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. And then we're going to take a step back and look at our system, this new system, and basically say to ourselves, hey, what needs to be tweaked? What needs to be adjusted? Hey, Curtis. Hey, brother. So tracking your material is huge. So number one, set the rules of the game. Who has authority? Who doesn't? Okay. Step number two, make sure that one of the processes that we follow is that we're allocating job names to it. All right. Some people are already at the stage where they get specific PO numbers, but we're just roughing it right now. Okay. So we're going to assign specific names. I know my battery's dying on my gimbal, so this thing keeps on tilting on me. Anyways, so we're going to assign names to the different material, so that's allocated per job. And then, making sure that we set boundaries around what's a limit. Is it $200? Is it $500? Is it $1,000? Depending upon the type of work that you guys do. And to get authority from the owner, right? From the chief at the top of the food chain that go, hey, why are you ordering this $1,000 piece of equipment or what have you, okay? So guys, that's basically it. The last step was test, measure, and tweak, okay? Your first go around is not going to be the ideal go around, okay? But you got to start tracking your material costs, and we got to start making progress on it. Once you start tracking a simple system like this, what will happen is that you'll be able to improve it, okay? Last little thing, and this is a bit of a bonus, okay, for trading tips in the truck, is when you're about to have the meeting with the PM or whoever it is that you're going to talk about regarding these new rules of the game, make sure you outline and you write down, there goes the battery again, make sure you outline exactly what it is that you want to cover off, so that when you're sitting there and you're talking to the guys, whether that's them in the truck or you got them live in front of you in the shop, that you're following an agenda that's written. And this is really, really important because communication is basically the response that you get. So if you get bad communication coming back to you, the odds are it's because you're not communicating properly. Putting something visual in front of your team and having them go through it establishes that visual ability to look at something as you go through it. It keeps you on track to the agenda. The other thing it does is that it allows the guys and you to sort of see the steps visibly laid out. And that way there's no discrepancy in what was communicated, right? Because you're gonna send this out to them, not just go through with them visibly. That you're actually going to send out this agenda to them. So this becomes sort of like a little mini policy of ordering material, tracking material, and following this new process. Okay, so there's sort of like the 5 tips. Okay, set the sort of the roles and responsibilities. Set the rules of the game. Around those rules of the game, oh man, this thing's dying. Around those rules of the game, you want to make sure that you clearly identify what's inbounds and out of bounds. Then you want to make sure that you set the limits, right? As far as the authority. And the last one is you want to make sure you test and measure it long enough that you can get enough feedback to know whether or not it's working or not. And as well, rough it, okay? Don't try and perfect it. Get this thing started. You'll learn a hell of a lot more by roughing it and doing it versus like waiting for perfection and not doing anything and getting no feedback. Okay, Andrew Houston from Trading Tips in the Truck. I gotta tell you guys, that's probably gonna increase your ability to be efficient and on your material and on your quoting by like 5-10% just by doing this and following through on it. You're gonna see things that you've never seen before. That could be the good, the bad, the ugly. But regardless, you need to see them all in order to take your business to the next level. All right, guys. Andrew Houston from Profit for Contractors, helping you guys get more profits, more control, in this case, of your material costs and tracking, and giving you guys more freedom so that you can get more out of your head into the hands of your team and get your business running more without you. All right, and have more fun doing it. Okay, we'll see you on the other side with Trading Tips in the Truck before this battery completely dies. And I think that's it. We'll be talking about how to track your hours, and then we'll talk about how to put it all together throughout the remainder of the week. Anyways, looks like the battery is officially dead. So we'll catch you guys on the flip later. Ciao. If you want to join the Contractor Tips group for more tips like this, more insights, join the link below, and we'll see you guys later on. Ciao.